We haven't really talked on the risks, actually, of impact, and we don't have much time, but there is a question that's rising up in likes at the moment that might help us delve into this a little bit. Is it a risk to blog? David Pickup asks, is it a risk to blog about work before it's published? And you know, maybe extending it beyond just blogging, but you know, talking about your work before it's published, and in communicating, you know, in these new ways. What are some of the new risks we should be aware of that might affect career success as well, negatively? Anyone want to jump in?
Yeah, maybe I'll start there. I mean, again, it's something I get asked a lot. I think I would never talk about, I've never put findings or original kind of results online before they had been published. I would be very cautious about that. I personally would only ever talk about the kind of contexts and questions of my research and ideas that it's generating, rather than sharing actual data. Now, that's going to vary a bit what that data means between fields. But I think it's really, yeah, it's really important, and especially at an early stage of your career, just to make sure that what you're putting out there is not going to compromise those publications. And certainly I would, but I think what I always find is, because I'm writing for a different audience, I would never write things in the same way that I would for a published piece anyway. But yes, do bear in mind that you don't want to share results that are going to put your actual, you know, your research outputs in a difficult position.
Now, is that because specific journals will not publish your work? Is it because scooping? What exactly is driving that risk?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of publication, you don't want to put something on your blog and then send it to a journal and it's already freely available in the public domain. Why are they going to republish it? So you do want to make sure that this sort of original material, or, you know, or in a book that you're going to be selling, that the original material is going to stay original until that book is published. But I think there is a huge amount that you can do with publication that is not to do with that and to do with public engagement online. And I've certainly never really found this an issue that has sort of restricted me. It's just about reshaping your content and the way in which you approach that content.
Yeah, and it's about using your judgment. So, you know, a long time ago, when I was an early career researcher, you know, people presented results at conferences, and you were always cautious and used judgment about what results you would present and what results you wouldn't. Now, things have changed a bit since then, and we now have ways to reach, you know, a conference presentation, you know, 2 decades ago, reached the 100 people who were in the room. But now that conference presentation can be tweeted and can reach anyone in the world. And clearly, if you blog or use social media, that has a potentially very, very large audience. But it all comes down to a question of judgment. What do you think is right to tell people about at any given moment? And obviously, as an early career researcher, you know, you have your own judgment, but also I think you need to discuss these things with other colleagues who've maybe got more experience of making those judgments. But I don't think there is anything different about the social media channels that we now use, apart from the fact that they have the potential to reach very much larger audiences and to become permanent records.
I absolutely agree, and I'd also point out that in terms of thinking about when weighing the potential risks, thinking about disciplinary norms as well. In some areas of biology and physics and maths, it's very common to put up a preprint for your work, which is, you know, in some ways and always, just as the potential for reaching a large audience is just as great if you're putting things onto archive or bioarchive or other preprint servers. And in some fields that's absolutely accepted, and you're free to submit to a preprint server and have things openly available online, and then go on to submit to a journal to have it formally published. So I'd say talking with colleagues absolutely about kind of what the norms are in your field, if you're a student or an early career researcher, is a really good way to navigate that.